He was silky, man. He's different gravy, and that's the kind of thing that I miss. Just having like a proper dependable centre back.
You know, I think he's aging like fine wine. He's just keep on going. He can stay at Liverpool for another 5-6 more years if I want to.
It was a battle for the ages, and just when we thought Chelsea were going to pop Jurgen Klopp's farewell tour victory parade, up stepped Virgil and slammed in a header, which left Gary Neville to say, the blue £1 billion bottle jobs, fair, excessive? We're going to talk about all that on this week's episode of One Click from Glory, as well as what Arsenal are doing, what Man City are doing, and some good news for Everton, but maybe not quite fair news for Everton. I'm joined as always by Craig and Matthew.
Yep.
And we are going to start with that Carabao Cup final, a very emotional, emotive, and definitely passionate final played out between Liverpool and Chelsea at our beloved Wembley, which is very close to where we are today. And I want to start with just your thoughts now, Matthew, having had a day to kind of reflect on some stuff. How are you feeling today after that match?
F1 comebacks on Saturday. Right. Thank you very much. So no, I'm still not happy about it. In fact, the more I think about it, the worse it gets. Because it's like, I felt more confident about this final than the final 2 years ago when we had like arguably a more cohesive team back then, the one we took it all the way to penalties. This game, I felt so much more confident with, I'm not going to lie, the injuries that they had and the kind of full strength team that we have pretty much going forward, not too dissimilar from the team that played against Man City last week. I mean, the lineup was questionable, but there was still enough there to kind of put them away. And so for the whole game, and I was watching with some of my friends yesterday, and the one thing that kept coming up was like, what's the plan? What's the shape? What's the formation? What's the idea? Because for every time we're trying to get a chance, every time we're trying to do anything with this ball, do anything, it just feels like they're running on the fly as the crow flies. Hence why we couldn't find the back of the net apart from when it was offside. And it's just it just shows you still how much work needs to be done with this team, with a style of play. Where did that go from pre-season and even like the first game or so? Where has it all gone? Where is the identity that we once had? Where is the ideas of the players that, you know, they want to kind of step up and just do something special? I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, I'm waiting for something to happen here, guys. I'm waiting for someone to like, you know, if what you're doing ain't working, just bring out the spectacular. Do something a little bit different, and it's just try and get that some kind of progress. But every single time, if any other team in that position with the chances they had, they're putting at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 of them away. But every time, like every shot, finding, like, not like we didn't have chances, finding Kelleher somehow. I mean, hey, credit to him, but he was man of the match. For a guy I thought was like, we could test him a little bit, he was 100% man of the match, keeping them in the game. Like, it's unreal. But it's annoying because, again, it's Liverpool again. Last 3 finals, it's a trifecta. League Cup, FA Cup, and then League Cup again. I've already said before we start recording, if it's another Chelsea FA Cup final this year, I'm not watching. It's Groundhog Day is making me sick. But look, take nothing away. They did what they had to do, even with a bunch of kids that I thought I'd be seeing in double maths the next morning in the uniform, man. I don't even know half these men who come on, but yet it's a sign of a guy who's, you know, annoyingly, who's had so much time to drill his philosophy into this team against the pros we had on these big wages, and they can't screw in a light bulb between 11 of them. And yet they're over there, you know, making electric cars for the future, that sort of thing. That's the levels that we're at. So it's so frustrating because I just felt like I was so confident. So confident. It was there. Genuinely, and it was there. But you know, billion pound bottle jobs. I mean, just because Gary Neville's saying it, I'm inclined to disagree. But there's a discussion there anyway. There really, really is.
There's definitely a discussion there, and I think one of the things that I do want to pick up on from what was said, even by Jeremy Carragher as well, talking about like the age of the Liverpool squad, because when you actually look at the average age of both teams at kickoff and at the end of the game, Chelsea were younger, both occasions. But for you, Craig, when it comes down to this his conversation about the match, just focusing specifically on like the chances that Chelsea had, Why do you think it is that the players were unable to finish their dinner on this occasion?
To be honest with you, I watched the second half or the first half to the second half of the game, and I personally thought Chelsea players looked leggy. They run out of energy. They really looked leggy. I'm telling you, like, when my mum was watching yesterday, and the player looked tired. Gallagher looked tired. Sterling got taken off too early, I feel. I think he's dangerous. They're dangerous. I feel like out of all the players Chelsea have got, I'll say Sterling and Cole Palmer are your two dangerous players in your team. And when it comes to goal threats and everything, Sterling knows how to finish a chance. He'll finish. If you give him a clear chance, he'll finish. He was very unlucky for the offside goal. If Jackson had just put his leg back a little bit more, that would have been 1-0 Chelsea. And I think Chelsea would have gone on to win the game. And I feel that Liverpool rode a lot for the game. But then, obviously, Klopp with the experience of winning trophies. I think Chelsea were naive as well, in a way. I don't mean it's a horrible way, Matthew, but I feel like you were naive when you guys were playing for penalties, when you guys were trying to kill the game off. Conor Gallagher had like 3 1-on-1s with the goalkeeper towards the end of the 90th minute and he missed. Enzo Fernandez, I'm gonna get onto him as well.
Get onto him right now. Go on.
I'm gonna cook him right now. Why the hell are you gonna backheel the ball?
Oh my God.
Do you remember that charge, Matthew?
Oh man, there were words that I'm not going to use on this podcast for when it came through, because especially as Cole Palmer was right there.
Sterling was there as well.
And Sterling was there too. You had 2 men that could have gone. I'm not going to utter those same words because it just takes me to a dark place every single damn time.
I'll utter a clean translated version for him. £100 million waste.
Do you remember when Balotelli did that a couple of years ago?
And he got taken off.
And he got taken off. He did that against LA Galaxy.
And that was a pre-season game.
That was a pre-season game. And you're telling me £100 million player couldn't just hold the ball? I play football. If I'm in that position and I can't score, I'm laying it off to the next man to have a strike. If he could have given it to Sterling, Sterling could have scored. Could have given it to Palmer. Palmer was in a better angle to score. And when I looked at it, I said to myself, you know what? I said to my mum, I don't think Chelsea are going to win today. I think they're going to lose this game.
But do you think Enzo deciding to attempt that type of a finish, do you think that's also kind of reflects the issues in the Chelsea squad as a whole, that like in a big moment situation in a cup final, there's almost like, I'll try this flashy thing rather than trying the simple thing, which is probably going to be more effective? Individualism.
It's like, it just felt like what we said about the gold generation of England for so many times, for all the talent and all the winners that you have and the capability, it literally felt like it was 11 individuals. And he has had moments like that. It was only last week, fresh memory, Nicholas Jackson, he's going in for a shot against Man City. Whether he's going to score, I don't know. But he knows that Jackson's there and he comes in and just hoofs it back to Macclesfield for I know. And you see Nicholas Jackson just going, he's fuming because like, I was there. Yeah, he might miss in the same way that either Sterling or Cole Palmer would miss. But at least then you would have done your part and tried something to give it to the guy who's got more of an opportunity to score the goal. And even when he did backheel it, it was miles away anyway. That's the worst part. It wasn't even like it was on target. It's like it was going back to Preston Road. Like, it just felt like they're all playing for me, or they just don't know how the word team is spelt. And that's the difference between the fact that, despite the fact you had a load of unknowns from on that Liverpool bench coming off, I mean, I couldn't tell you half of these kids. I'm surely looking through my phone thinking, who is this man? Like, why is he not in school doing his homework? But anyway, and it's just how much of the reliance of, in this day and age, how a system is so integral. Because you can swap in any guy in that team, it doesn't matter. Yeah. They're going to recognise what's going on. We're gone now, we all talked about this before, from the whole things of superstars, where you can throw on 11 guys and they would find a way. That's how we used to win our finals sometimes. True. We would have 11 superstars out there that even on their worst day could conjure up something. And Drogba, an example of that was Drogba. Absolutely key for that, scored in like pretty much every other final he was in, even when we're at our best. We are nowhere near that level, and I think we're trying to go for something a little bit different, where it's more of a cohesive sort of thing. But whatever kind of training they did or lack thereof, it didn't work. And go back to what you said about the whole tiredness thing. We had a week off. They played on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So where's this tiredness coming from?
Let's get right into that about the fitness, because to me there's several things that I found quite interesting looking at the managers when it went to extra time. Because I was watching the match at a friend's house, and a friend's a Chelsea fan, so I was like, all right, fair enough. See how it goes. I was like, oh, let's put the match on. Let's see how it goes, right? And I was looking at the manager's reactions. I turned to my friend and I said, Chelsea have lost this. They were like, nah, we haven't lost. I said, look at your coach. Pochettino's face, and even the speech he was giving to the players, he looked nervous. He looked anxious. He looked like he was desperately trying to fire them up. Klopp, he gave one of the subs a big hug. He was so chilled. It was like, man's been here. Man's done that. Win or lose, I'm proud of you guys. Poch was like, I need this. And what was interesting is that from the minute the first half extra time kicked off, it was like someone had run around and sapped all the energy, life, and enthusiasm out of all the Chelsea players and just said, go on, guys, play football. Because it just felt like they were if they had 80% energy, it dropped to 40%. And we don't know why. But for you, Craig, what's your take on the fitness issues of Chelsea? And do you think this, in addition to some other stuff we'll discuss, is really going to put the spotlight firmly on Mr. Pochettino?
It's a mentality problem. If you're a footballer, you should be able to play through like extra time, whatever. It's not about fitness. It's not a fitness issue. It's a mentality thing.
You think so?
Chelsea have not won a trophy since the Champions League final.
The Super Cup,
Cup.
Club World Cup. That's
the last time Chelsea won a trophy. That's 2 years ago.
And
I feel like I know Chelsea are going through a transitional period. Yeah, forget all the transitional period. That's nonsense now because they've had 2 years to sort it out, and you spent over £1 billion. So and you get to a cup final, big game at Wembley, and you bottled it. That's real. You bottled it. It's a big game. You guys, I did say Klopp was calm and Pochettino was nervous. How can you be nervous? You won trophies at PSG. How can you be nervous? You work with Messi. There's no Messi in Chelsea's team. There's no Neymar in Chelsea's team. There's no Mbappe in Chelsea's team. And these players will come with big egos and big reputations.
Let's be honest. There's no Messi, but they've got Messi finishers. But continue.
Them guys were big ego players and you were able to win the league with them players.
True.
So you're telling me you haven't got big manager game experience to know, you know what? I know I haven't got the type of players in my team, but I'm going to motivate them. So you know what? Motivational speech and go win the game.
But then does it also come down to expectation as well? Because you think about his last, let's think his last three jobs, right? He's now at Chelsea. And I always use the example of Gary O'Neill at Wolves. Gary O'Neill came in after the transfer window, barely had a preseason with his players, and look at that game against Man United early in the season. They deserved to win at Old Trafford, but for poor finishing and whatever, they didn't. But that was a performance you're like, oh, Wolves have got something. And of course, they had a lot of VAR bad decisions over the way. Pochettino had a whole preseason with Chelsea. He knew he was coming to Chelsea for months. I know your recruitment strategy has been all over the place, and you maybe haven't brought in players, whatever. But to this day, can anyone tell me his best 11? Can anyone really tell me what he wants?
I don't know his best 11.
Even when you think about the striking options, you got Nkunku, you got Jackson, you got obviously Broja's gone out on loan. But it's like, what does he want through the middle? What does he really want? And then look at Datsun Fofana now, who's out on loan at Burnley, and you look at him, and I'm thinking, why was he not given another chance at Chelsea? Because in the few games he's played at Burnley, yes, he scored 2 goals in one match, and he missed a lot of chances in the following game. But you know what the guy was doing? Getting there. He was making things happen, always running, always an outlet. And you need players like that, you know? So I look at him and I think, is he even able to manage in an environment where there's high expectations? Because at PSG, yes, they won the league. They also lost cups when they should have won a cup in his, I think his second season or his last season. They should have won the cup fight, the French Cup, and they bottled it there. They won the league, and then the Champions League, let's not even talk about that. It's disgraceful. And then you think of his time at Southampton and Tottenham, and I think for both of them, like at Southampton, there's not an expectation for them to go on and win trophies, but you want to see them like develop, play great football, and then see how far they can rise. And he did really well at Southampton. Got an opportunity to move to Tottenham. And we know at Tottenham, there's no expectation to win whatsoever. There's no desire to win. There's no need to win.
Pressure don't need to
There's
win.
no pressure to win either. But what there is desire to be bigger than Arsenal. So, when they were finishing above us and everyone said there was a power shift, what do they have to show for that time? They won niche. In our worst period under Arsene Wenger, we still won FA Cups.
Facts.
We had a league run in 2016 and we bottled that first, but we had a league run. What do they have to show for it? The biggest trophy opportunity they had was the Champions League final against Liverpool. And what did Klopp do? Slap them down. No mercy. And that's the manager you have. And so when you got a manager that hasn't won anything, and it's one of those things where when you've been to Wembley so many times and lost, it can seep into you that this is a place I can't win. And I was looking at his face after the huddle and they cut to the bench and they showed Pochettino's face. I looked at him and I think, this guy doesn't believe his players are going to do it. He just didn't have that. He just had a sense of desperation in his eyes. Like, I need this. And obviously we saw on when they were doing the trophy parade and the players were getting the medals and hit him, how he just ignored Todd Bowley's offer for a handshake, which I thought was quite telling. Only shook the other co-owner's hand. So there's trouble in the camp, but I think we can safely say it is another bottle job from Pochettino, and it's just disappointing. And I just don't know what you guys do. But I think on that note, for you, Matthew, what needs to happen now? Because like you said, the FA Cup is still in play. You've got a chance to do something in the league this season, even though that's going to be a bit of a hope and a prayer, but you can still finish respectable. But what are you expecting now from Chelsea?
He has to go hard. He has to fight for literally every single result, because that tell yesterday, from the look at his face, the lack of a shake of Todd Bowley means that he knows deep in the back of his head, his job is on the line.
And just a quick thing, just jump in. You are 17 points off top 4. I'm not even going to count above that, because let's just be 17 points off.
That's a lot. That's 5 wins. About 6 or 7 wins, and you can see how up and down. You get the performance like Wolves, and you get the performance against City. So there's no kind of like real in between. The next game is Brentford. We don't tend to do well against them, so he's got to go. He's got to go hard with his next few games, and just really kind of like, if he is going to push for domestic, not saying to prioritise that because the league is just as important. Because we missed out on the games, West Ham and Wolves both jumped above us, which is going to be a bit of a bugbear. Plus, recording tonight. I mean, as of recording, West Ham play tonight. West Ham play tonight.
I think so, yeah.
West Ham play tonight, so I could be much further ground they have on us anyway. But he's just got to kind of produce some kind of culture that kind of he wants from this. So he got to the cup final, fine. It didn't work out in the way that you wanted anymore. I thought the desperation would be enough to kind of see him over, because like the players are desperate. He's desperate. He hasn't won a trophy in England, and the way that they prop him up as a really good manager, you have to have a trophy to show for that. And unfortunately, that hunt goes on. So unless he wants to go hard for the FA Cup, which he don't even reach the semi-final, I don't personally know. But his job is on the line. And the way we're talking, there's one man out there who knows the club, who might just have to come in
Frank?
for a little bit. Who wins with us.
Okay, Jose, sorry.
Third time round. If there's one guy who can whip you up into shape with a bunch of misfits and rejects, like he did at Roma, like he did at United, like he nearly done at Spurs if he didn't sack him, even if it's just for 3 months, like your target is 17 points. If anyone's going to do that, if anyone could do that, just to stop the ship from sinking, it's him.
You're going to spin the block with Jose one more time, yeah?
What have we got to lose? What have we got? What do we have to lose? We're already a mess.
And how long contract would he give him? 18-month contract?
18 months?
Contract. How long would it come in? How many year contract would he give him?
It depends on how his vibe is, isn't it? He's vibesy right now. He's I don't know. Just how long? Just get us where we need to get to, man. Just get us where we need to get to, and just leave us in the mud.
Well, I think the biggest problem you've got is your ownership and what they've done. But just a final thing on Pochettino before we start talk about Liverpool and a couple of their players and what this might mean for the season. One of the things that, from his time at Southampton and his time at Tottenham, was his ability to develop young players. And when you look at how things went with Graham Potter, you could just tell that he didn't have the command and respect of the dressing room. With Tuchel, it was ownership issue. Dressing room wasn't the problem, it was ownership, and they didn't agree with his decision when the Ronaldo deal, and I think that the transfer thought process and Ronaldo deal and Tuchel being resolute, they didn't like that. You moved him on. You got in
Potter came on.
Potter, and just didn't have the respect of the team. You know, he had good ideas, but he just didn't quite have the respect. And I almost wonder, would Potter be doing a better job with this current squad? Putting that all to one side, you went and got Pochettino, a very highly rated manager, someone who, when we moved on to Unai Emery, I was looking at him with a couple of eyes like, well, no, I'd take Pocher at the Gunners. Obviously, he would never come because he's a football romantic. He doesn't believe in, he doesn't cross the rivalry divide, though he's at Chelsea, so we'll see it's interesting. But I think what's really shocking for me is how he's not been able to really develop some younger players. He's had all this time, and I can't think of one player that's excelling under him. Because you could argue Cole Palmer, but he was doing it at Man City in pre-season.
Oster looks right under him.
But he was doing that at Lyon before he got injured. I've not seen anyone that's really... Caicedo has regressed to the point where he's just a hatchet man. And that tackle that he did to injure Gravenberch, I'm sorry, that's just ridiculous. And the fact that VAR didn't even give it a second look. Like, for you, Craig, like, what's your take on Pochettino and his development of young players? And do you feel like... What do you think is some of the reasons why he's really struggling to trying to develop this team?
You've got too many players.
Basically too many men.
Too many players, too many egos, too many big reputations that haven't done anything in the game yet. Like Mudryk. I thought someone like Pochettino would get the best out of Mudryk. Hasn't done anything. Cole Palmer's done well. That's a take. Well, he was doing well at City anyway. If you take that City, he would have done well. Sterling has regressed a little bit as well. He's regressed a lot.
Yeah, from last season, he's
from City days. It's last season. He didn't play well for Chelsea. He struggled last season at Chelsea.
He wasn't good at his last year at City anyway.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, he still won the league. Still scored goals. Easy, who else? Balotelli doesn't look the same player he was last season when he first came. When he first came to Chelsea, he looked solid. I thought Pochettino would make him even a better player. Thiago Silva's dropped off a lot. But he was always a good defender, but he's not the same player. Doesn't look comfortable playing with the defence he's got. The goalkeeper looks all right.
Petrovic.
He looks better than Sanchez.
I like Petrovic.
Petrovic's been solid for you to play the games he's played. Chilwell. When he came to Chelsea, I thought he'll be the next. He'll be definitely taken over from Luke Shaw at left back. I don't think so now. Reece James, captain, can hardly stay fit. Good player, can hardly stay fit.
So someone posted an interesting video of Reece James from an England training camp where they were doing some flexibility work, and he was really struggling. And this person was saying that the issue that Reece James has is that because he's become so muscle heavy and top heavy, it's taken away his flexibility, and that's what's made him more susceptible to injuries. Now, I don't know how accurate that information is, but I do think it's interesting that when you look at, it's not just the only player. When you think of other players that have bulked up and how that kind of affects their fitness, like I think of Jack Wilshere back in the day at Arsenal, he started to bulk up a bit and he just seemed to just get niggles all the time. Yeah. So maybe Reece needs to kind of cut back on that, on his muscle. But yeah.
Reece James. Sorry. Jackson. He has his moments.
He started off well.
He has his moments.
Start off really well.
Like the assist he did against City the other day. That was a good the way how he left two defenders going send to the shop and go the other way. He's got like moments in him, but Chelsea need a killer striker. Someone who's good. I thought Nkunku would be that killer striker, but he's been injured again.
Injury, yeah,
and Poch, like in the big game yesterday.
You start
your best player. He's fit. You start him.
I'll start
him. And you start him, and if he doesn't do anything after 45, 70 minutes, you take him on. You bring on like Andy Jackson, or you can bring on, Broja. Broja's not been given a chance.
Broja's out on loan now at Fulham, isn't he?
And he's not played at Fulham. He's not start. The manager, Markus Silva said the other day that he needs to work. He needs to fight for his place in the team. He's not going to walk into the team. He has to show me more. And the other guy's doing better than him at the moment. Muniz is doing better than him at the moment, so he's not getting minutes. Who else have I got? Who else have I missed out on now?
Noni Madikele.
Madikele's gone backwards. very backwards.
I was very surprised when he came off the bench and just how little he, not say how little he did, but you're fresh. He didn't look like he was fresh.
He didn't know what he was doing. Probably didn't know what was going
He
on.
made a couple of interesting moments, but then I wanted more.
I feel he doesn't look confident. I think he's a confidence type of player. He doesn't look confident at all.
There's nothing to believe in because there's no system to believe him in the first place. Especially in the evidence of that final yesterday. It's like, I'm coming on. What do you need for me to do? Is it a like for like swap? Do you want me to swap with this man? What's this guy? Like what is it that I'm supposed to do? And it's just there doesn't seem to be like any kind of like a cohesive plan when he come on, especially in the final as well.
Yeah, but I personally feel that if you're a professional footballer and you're on the bench, your job on the bench is to make an impact. If you're an attacking player or midfield player, your job is to get a goal, set up a player, to get an assist. You should watch the game. I think a lot of players don't watch the game. They only think about themselves. If you're a good player, you watch the game and you say, you know what, when I sometimes for myself, I'll watch the game and say, you know what can I do to come onto the pitch? Or this right winger or this left back is weak. Let me come on the pitch and take it. Let's give him a problem. A lot of these Chelsea players don't give the manager food for thought for the next game. Like Mudryk can like if you're a sub, you come on, make an impact, and then the next game, manager will consider to start you. But these players are not doing it, so they're not playing for the manager. So the biggest issue is if you're not playing for the manager's going to get sacked. A new manager's going to come in, and then it's going to be either he's going to sell the players that are not good enough or loan them out. But Chelsea can't really loan. Chelsea can't really sell the players because they're on big contracts, 8-year contracts.
We're going to have to sell them. We're going to have to. We can't just loan them out like we used to.
And the thing is, you're going to make a big loss on them as well. Because you pay big money for a lot of these players and they're not delivering. Enzo's not delivering. Mudryk has not delivered. Caicedo's not delivered. I could go on all night if I want to, but let's leave it for there.
Yeah, let's leave it there. Let's talk about the winners, Liverpool, because this is not a Chelsea moaning podcast, but there's two players in particular I really want to highlight from this match. They're the goalkeeper Kelleher and of course the captain, Mr. Virgil Van Dijk, who just continues to find new ways to just show everyone that he is the man. Even when there were accusations that he had fallen off from the previous few seasons after that horrible injury he suffered at the hands of Jordan Pickford. He's come back, had a shaky first season back from his injury, and now he looks like he's getting back to or playing at the level that we knew and respect him for. On this, Matthew, I've seen some quotes or tweets flying around about people and how they want to rate him. So, how do you rank Virgil van Dijk amongst Ramos, PK, Varane, Thiago Silva, and others?
So we were talking about this yesterday, but we were doing it against Premier League defenders, against world defenders. That's
we'll come to the Premier League ones after, but let's do the world.
Him, who else?
Him, Sergio Ramos, PK, Thiago Silva, Rafael Varane. Modern era of centre backs.
Boy.
So those are like the go-to ones when you think about great centre backs. So these are the people that have won everything.
I know, man.
Except for Thiago Silva.
I know who I would choose, but let Matthew.
Who would you pick?
Sergio Ramos first. He's won everything in world football. He won bare Champions League.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
And he won the World Cup with Spain as captain. Won 2 Euros. Everything. And I feel like he's had a longer longevity career. Like he's never been injured a lot. He's always like every club he's been to has made him better. And he's a leader.
I was gonna say Ramos.
Ramos first. Then I would say Van Dijk second. Thiago Silva third. No, PK third. Thiago Silva fourth. And who's the last one?
Varane.
Oh man.
Yeah, because
Varane. I'll say Varane fifth. You know why? Because Varane kind of fallen off a lot. Since he come to United, he's fallen off. If he stayed at the same level he was at Madrid, I'll put him higher up. But I feel like these players who I put ahead of him have done more and have been more longevity in their career. Come with success trophy, age, injuries. I'll put them. That's the ranking I'll go for.
Right, Matthew, how
mine's a little bit different. So mine's Ramos, PK, then Van Dijk, then Thiago, then Varane.
All right.
Still a bit of a switch up.
And then let's switch over to the Premier League now. Is Virgil van Dijk the best centre-back in Premier League history?
Who the players?
Just in history. So I'm not even going to name them. But just think of all
I
the players.
saw this today. They said they were comparing him with Rio Ferdinand, Vidic, John Terry, I think Tony Adams.
I'm talking everybody. All the
Vincent Kompany was in there as well.
I'm talking everybody. Yap Stam, Keown, Adams. Terry, like Ferdinand. Think of all of the baller centre backs you can think about. Is Virgil the best of the lot?
He's in the top 10.
He's in the
We know
top.
that.
It's in the top 5, but it's not. It's not better than he.
It's about, but I don't. I mean,
Let me be real with you, yeah. I judge it on trophies. So I judge it on trophies, and I feel like the other players who I'll rank ahead of him have won more trophies than him, and I've done it for longer as well.
So you're putting Terry and Rio ahead of him. You're putting Terry and Rio ahead of him.
I put Rio ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think Van Dijk is better than Terry.
Okay.
the trophies though.
Trophy.
Then said trophies.
Okay, let's make it a bit easier. So in their prime, who's the best? Is Van Dijk, if put everyone in their prime, is Van Dijk better than them? Or is he still top 3?
Top 3.
But not number 1?
No.
He's top 3.
But not number 1? It's a tough one because he has everything. Van Dijk has everything.
But you have to look at players like Rio Ferdinand was doing it since he was 17, 18 years old.
But I'm specifically saying in his prime, all these players in their prime, their absolute peak seasons, does Van Dijk beat them out to be the best?
Oh man, that's hard.
He's in the top 3.
He's in the top 3.
He's in the top 3.
I said top 3, yeah.
Because then what's going to happen now is that we're going to have to watch all of these men in their prime and just see just how much they compare differently. Because if you take trophies out of it, because if you go with trophies, it's nice and easy. But you have to watch the impact that these guys had in the team, and particularly in the back line. Because if that conversation has to be had, you can't not look at someone like Vincent Kompany, not just for what he won, but the impact that he had on that team and and he was part of the expectation rising in the team for the best part of 10 years.
I agree, but also with Virgil, Liverpool signed him, they win the league.
That's true.
That's true.
They signed him and immediately they're challenging.
But then when Virgil Van Dijk got injured, you can see Liverpool struggle for a while, for a whole season.
So that shows you the level he
is
is
at.
at.
Then you have Rio Ferdinand, for example. Rio Ferdinand won multiple titles on Sir Alex Ferguson on different defenders. He did it with he did it with
Vidic.
No, he did it with that other guy, the defender, Laurent Blanc, first season.
Yeah.
Then he went to after Laurent Blanc, he did it. He had the partnership with Wes Brown for a little bit.
Sure,
Then he brought John O'Shea. Then he had Vidic. Then after Vidic, he had Smalling.
All right.
See? Okay. That's why people don't understand how many different defenders he's done it with. Van Dijk's only done it with like Konate, and he's done it with Matip. Lovren. So he's done it with like 4 defenders. Ferdinand done it with more. So you have to give credit where credit's due.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's a good way.
But how impressed were you with his performance in the final?
For me.
After saying all of that.
For me.
Both of you, but I'll start with you, Matthew. How impressed are you with his performance in the final?
He was silky, man. He's different gravy, and that's the kind of thing that I miss, of just having like a proper dependable centre back. You know, we got a young parent in our team. You know, Thiago Silva is going to be going on his way out, and it's good to kind of see. I'm glad that someone like Colwell got to see something that's like, you know, we have the standard of to be the best. You're looking at someone as a prime example. Playing against someone like that, you know, is just a great kind of way to see. Imagine that, you know, it would have been great if Thiago Silva and him were both in the same game to watch 2 Titans really go at it. But and he got 2 goals for his thing. He got 2 goals for his.
Quick question: was Thiago Silva injured for the cup final, or just wasn't picked?
He was injured.
Just wanted to make sure.
He was injured. Because if he wasn't,
I know.
There'd be a riot if he was fit and he didn't see the thing. There would have been an actual riot.
Bella would be on Poch. Shout out to Bella Silva. She's a real one, absolute real one. Yeah, and for you, Craig, how like impressed were you with Virgil and just what he did yesterday in the cup final?
He was like the father, like for all the young players. Big daddy, looking after all the players.
That's what you need.
All the young players.
That's what you need.
Pulling that one when a player made a good tackle, high-fiving them, leading by example. Look at the header he scored. One was offside for VAR. Didn't phase him. Went up the other end again, did it again.
Do it again.
I telegraphed that winner, you know. When I saw the cross, I was like, oh, this is bad. My friend was like, no. Boom.
So much.
I feel like with Van Dijk, you know, I think he's aging like fine wine. He's just keep on going. He can stay at Liverpool for another 5-6 more years if he want to.
Could, but then
is he gonna have that same hunger and desire to want to do it again and again and again? After Klopp goes in the summer, it depends what kind of manager Liverpool attract and bring in. He might want to say, no, Van Dijk, I might want to move him to one side or go with
or maybe Virgil might feel like, let me try myself at one of the European giants.
maybe like a
Well,
Milan.
another European giant, I guess. Because
Maybe a Milan, Inter Milan, or AC Milan, or maybe you never know. Maybe Spain,
Real Madrid.
maybe a Barcelona. Barcelona need defenders.
They ain't got no money though. They can't afford it.
Real Madrid need
Real Madrid don't need it.
They don't need it, but
if the opportunity's there,
they'll take it.
They're recruiting. Where's it? Mbappe, Bellingham. Who knows?
Alphonso Davies. It's rumours that deal is being wrapped up this week.
I heard they want Trent as well. They want to get Trent as well, apparently, to replace Carvajal. So it could be an interesting couple of. The project that they're building,
It's madness.
it's amazing.
Let's not rule out Haaland. Eventually, he will end up there. Eventually,
Haaland and Mbappe together in one team. Oh
he will be there.
Maybe. Most likely, but we'll wait and see. And also, let's talk about Kelleher as well, because I think as a goalkeeper, some of those saves, you can put it down to poor finishing. And I think for quite a few of them, you could say it's poor finishing. But what made it a poor finish was his positioning and the way he spread himself. It was like a lot of the saves are very Schmeichel-esque, that whole starfish save where you kind of spread yourself, twist your body, and you have your leg low, and then you have your hand down. So if the player tries to go in the gap, you can just drop your hand up. If they go high, you can just bring it up. Very, very good. And he was very brave, coming off his line quick, shutting the angles down. I mean, for you, Matthew, because you play as a goalkeeper as well, how impressed were you with that performance?
For me, he was man of the match because he kept them, like the chances that we had, at least 2 or 3, you argue, maybe even 4, we should be having better. The finishing has got to be so much better, but you still got to go ahead and try and save it, And one day it might just go under the arm, under the leg. The one with Gallagher is probably the save of the match because he's not even like his body; it's his hand. His hand is actually in the perfect place for it to come by. He makes himself nice and wide, nice and imposing, and he comes out with the best goalkeepers. They time it perfectly to come it out and just hit that key body part, whether it's like the switch here or something like on the tips right here. It makes all the difference. And because he could smell the fact that our finishing just wasn't on point, and the fact that everything he just seemed to knew. He's like he put Juju on the goal. He knew exactly where everything was going to go, and that's such a big difference. Keeping them competitive. This is their second string keeper after Alisson, and he put in an absolute shift yesterday. So credit where credit is due. He was excellent, really, really good.
Definitely made all the difference. But I guess the final thing a little before we move on to some other matches and teams, of course, they had a lot of injuries going into this match and they picked up some more injuries as well. Gravenberch came off injured. Do you think, Craig, that might affect their chances of winning the league?
I think this one's going to motivate them to win the league. They want to do it for Klopp. And the young players that he brought into the team, they don't look bad. A Bradley guy, replacement for Trent at right back, solid.
Yep.
The one, Lee Clark's son looks good. He looked alright when he came on yesterday. So Liverpool kids keep on finding these young players out of nowhere. They must have a great academy to get all these young players come out of nowhere and doing well. The guy who came on yesterday, Dan's, he looked alright. He looked lively when he came on.
They got a header, but not for a save from Petrovic.
Yeah.
So I thought Liverpool got a great future. So if they were to recruit some of their money for some of their big name players who are not doing their job anymore, they could sell players and just promote some of the youth team players.
I guess that's the final thing on Liverpool. They've got Nottingham Forest coming up in the league on Saturday. I know they've got an FA Cup game against Southampton, but we'll skip past that for now. Do you rate their chances? It's away at Nottingham Forest City Ground. So do you think Nottingham Forest...
They're a bit poor at the moment, man. They're a bit poor. And I just think it's kind of like the do it for Klopp mentality is so strong. Hence why those young players are buying in so bad, doing it for him. So I can't really see anything other than a win. I really can't.
Craig, what do you think?
Nottingham Forest are a heck of an agile team, man. They've got good players in their team, but they just don't play. I don't know what it is with them. They've got some great players. They've got Origi, Champions League winner. They've got Gibbs White, good player. They've got Hudson-Odoi, Champions League winner. They've got a lot of Champions League winners in their team, but they're not gelling properly. I don't know what it is. They've changed the goalkeeper so many times this season. They've got another one called Sells in goal now. Still conceding goals. So I feel like if they can hold them down in the first half, they could all they could hope for best is a draw. I don't think they'll beat Liverpool because Liverpool on the up for winning the cup. So if they can get a draw, that will help them off the table because Everton have won their point deduction. So they only got reduced to 6, so they're like 15th in the table now. So now Nottingham Forest are going to be near the bottom now. So they really need to start picking up some wins, or else they'll get relegated.
That they definitely need to do, and we'll see how they do with that. Let's move on to Arsenal. As they say, revenge sometimes is sweet when it's served nice and hot on an evening at the Emirates. Definitely got them back for that Judge Budge fake goal that we lost back against them at St. James's Park. One thing I want to say before we even get into the meat of this, like Newcastle didn't have a shot. Forget about shots on target, because everyone talks about that. They did not even have a single shot in the first half for the first time in 10 years. Talk about domination. Like, Craig, how impressed are you with how we went about our business against Newcastle?
Amazing. Great football. Me and we'll watch it together. Great game. One thing Arsenal reminds me of now is when City played without a striker before they bought Haaland and they won the league without a striker, a recognised striker. I feel, honestly, if we continue playing like this, it's going to be very close to us winning our first title in 20 years. It would be great if we could win it this season. Even if we get Champions League and the Premier League, it would be nice. Or even one or the other, it would be good. I thought the team played better without a striker. We're more fluid. Havertz was on good form. Got an assist and got a goal. Could have got 2. It was through and goal in the second half. We could have got 3.
I think that if I'm gonna update your statement and say if Jesus is not available, the team plays better without a striker. Because if Jesus is on it and he's got the mobility that he has when he's fully fit, then we're different gravy. When he's not there and we play number 14 up front, it's awkward. So yeah.
So I feel that like we're doing well. We're doing very well at the moment. I think this year we scored over 20 goals in 5 games, and that's title form. That's title winning form. Team, if you go to West Ham, your London rivals, European champions last season, and beat them. You go to Burnley, I know they're struggling. We beat Nottingham Forest away. We lost against them a couple of times at their ground. We've beaten who else did we beat?
Liverpool.
We beat Crystal Palace at home, and then we've had some hard run into them over the years. We've beaten Liverpool, who every season under Klopp has beaten us home and away.
Yep.
And we've got 4 points off them last season. We've got 4 points off them again this season. So it goes to show that Arsenal are on the up. All we need to do now is be consistent. Every game between now and end of the season is a cup final for us. Every game we have to win. I think when the title is going to be, I think when we play City, we've got Chelsea, and we've got to play Man United, and we've got to play Tottenham,
City.
we've got to play Wolves as well. I think those 5 games are going to, and Aston Villa, I think those 6 games are going to determine where the title goes. If we win all 6 of them, or avoid defeating all 6 of them, I personally feel we're going to win the title. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm being deluded or not, but I really feel that if we win them games, and if we can beat Porto in the return leg, much like we will, with our fit striker jerseys, I'll start Jesus in that game because I know Champions League that's his competition. He's done well in it this season, so you start him in that game, go on and win that game. So yeah,
his goal scoring record is about 1 and 2 in Champions League, which is incredible. One player I want to highlight is Mr. Bukayo Saka, and he is the first English player to score for Arsenal to score in 5 consecutive Premier League games since Sir Ian Wright.
Ian Wright,
1994. Matthew, sometimes I feel like it's very difficult to kind of sum up what Bukayo Saka is doing because he's performing at a level that is, simply put, world class. But how impressed are you with Saka, and where do you think he could go by the end of the season?
Like he's improving every single season that you're going along, which is important for when you're not just challenging for a title, but as a player for yourself, you want to add to your stock because now you got other young men around him that have something to show for their success, and he's hungry for that, and he wants to. I said before, he wants to do it with Arsenal. He's eventually going to be doing it with Arsenal. He's had cups in the past, like the FA Cups. He's going to go on for bigger things right now, and just keeps on adding to his value, and just has that kind of dependability. And the one thing I think is important for a young player is maturity. There's a maturity about him right now where he's not getting carried ahead. He's saying and doing the right things. He's keeping himself fit. He's never looked better really. Considering got the international break coming up in about 3 weeks' time, so you know that his name's going to be first on that kind of thing on the list for Gareth. At the end of the season, it kind of depends on what trophy you're going to lift. It really does depend on what trophy you're going to lift, because he's not one of the ones that's going to be in danger to be going anywhere anytime soon anyway. He wants to win with Arsenal. But it really depends on what trophy you lift. Or if it's even with Arsenal, maybe it could be with England. It could be with England going to the Euros. You never know. In the form that he's in, he's England. I said before, he's England's best player right now, and he's a driving force. You look to someone like him thinking like, that's the kind of guy that I want to aspire to. When you think England, you genuinely do think of Saka right now. I mean, aside from Bellingham and him, they're the two most exciting players going into this team. Even Harry Kane seems to have fallen off a cliff at Bayern right now. Training against Bayern Leverkusen as well. But he's... Again, I think of the young guys we have right now, where time, patience, commitment, efficiency, and just having a stiff upper lip, even after what happened after Euro 2021, doesn't seem to have phased him too much. And it wasn't that long ago. And he's only gone from strength to strength, and that in the sense of like mentality. So that's such a good thing to have. And the numbers back it up. He's at world class level. He really is.
That he is. And also, I think personally that with Arsenal, not just with him, the likes of Saliba, even Martinelli as well, I think we have one more season. So, like, if we're not successful this year, I think next season will be the make or break one for the Arteta's reign at the club. In that, if the following season, like next season, if we don't do anything, don't win any big trophy, I can see the squad getting ripped apart, because these players, they have big ambition, and they love Arsenal. They want to win stuff. And Madrid will come knocking. These other clubs will come knocking. So I love the direction we're traveling in. I love the mentality. I love the mindset. I love how we're doing stuff. But the reality is we need to keep moving forward. Otherwise, we might run into problems. So we'll see how it pulls it off. I guess there's like a couple of final things to talk about to wrap up this week's podcast. It's been very nice talking about Chelsea and Liverpool. Been interesting to see how things are going for both teams. And obviously Chelsea, it's been a rough time, but... We move. The other club that's having a really rough time is Manchester United. And, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has got his 25% stake in the club. So he doesn't own it outright, but he's a major investor and he's in charge of all the footballing operations. They've tried to get Dan Ashworth from Newcastle, and he's been put on gardening leave. So basically, interpreting that for the normal lay people, he'll be at Man United next season. He's basically been fired, but, told to stay away from the office. And so that's interesting. Obviously, they're looking at some other people. They're getting a guy from Man City as well as the CEO. So they're looking at making some good moves to help with their recruitment. But as it currently stands, they are failing. Eric Ten Hag, you are a failure. But Craig, how do you see this panning out? Because realistically, do you think they're going to make it to top four? Just to say, in terms of points, Man United are 6th on 44 points right now. They are 8 points. I was making sure my math was correct. They're 8 points behind Aston Villa in 4th. Do you think they will do it?
You can never write off Man United. Over the years, they're a team that they're like their annoying little brother or annoying little sister that just come up, just always know to just come and annoy you at when you're just busy doing something.
They're basically jammy beeps.
Yes.
Yeah, big time.
You think they're having a bad season and out of the blue they go win. They can go consistent and they can win 10, 11 games and they climb up the table. And another thing as well, Man United had the team that can determine when the Premier League goes this season. Either it goes to the Etihad, it goes to Liverpool, Anfield, or it goes to the Emirates. Because United have to play all three of them teams towards now the end of the season. So if United take points of any of them three teams, it will determine when the table goes. And for their own pride and for their own top four hopes, because I'm guessing if United don't get top four this season and they get Europa League, the budget is going to go down for spending money on players. They're going to have to get rid of a lot of players as well. Like Anthony will definitely be gone in the summer. I can't see him staying at United.
You'd hope.
Yeah.
Martial definitely gone.
You'd hope.
Varane definitely won't sign another contract.
Such a shame.
Johnny Evans will be gone. Only got a 1 year contract.
Eriksen.
Eriksen's gone.
Shame.
Who else?
Casamigos.
Casemiro's definitely gonna go.
Because
Casemiro's definitely gonna go in the summer. Maguire, the jury's still out on him if they're gonna get rid of it. He's played well.
Gone to West Ham.
He's done well this season, but will United want to keep him? Maybe they want another man in defence.
But it depends who the manager is, because if Ten Hag stays, then you think Maguire would stay because he's clearly building around him. Varane, Casamigos, they'll definitely moved on.
Malachi's been injured all season. Mason Mount. Who? Mason Mount. Who? He's been a ghost all season, been injured all season.
He was chilling in the crowd on the weekend. I was shocked. I was like, wow.
He has been like, I don't know how to say it.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Should have stayed at Chelsea. That's all I got to say.
Basically, it's like when Alex Hleb went to Barcelona.
Yeah, career done.
Just wasted time.
Wasted
Wasting
career.
everyone's time. Yeah.
With United, I feel that I'm not writing them off for top four because I know how United are. They've done it too many times. I'll give them like last season. I gave Liverpool a dark horse to get Champions League and they just missed out by a couple of points. I'm gonna do the same for mine now. I think I'm gonna give them. I think they can go on a run, but it depends on Aston Villa, how Aston Villa finishes the season. If Aston Villa continue winning, then I can't. Then Aston Villa could be a Newcastle, like what Newcastle did last season, and continue the momentum and get top four. And I feel like Aston Villa get top four this season, they will have a bigger budget to spend in the summer, and they will get better players to cover Champions League and Premier League football. So there you go.
That's thing is, I mean, Unai Emery is a better manager than Howe.
Definitely, 100%.
So you can see them progressing at parts of the group stage for sure.
And they can definitely the next target for Aston Villa is to win a trophy. And I think Emery could do that at Aston
a good
Villa.
cup run, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in next week's episode, we're going to actually talk about Man United in a bit more detail. We're hopefully going to get a fan on to discuss them because we're going to try and play Football Manager or FIFA with them and try and predict what they could do in the summer. We're going to set them a budget and try and see what players they could buy. Just to give a quick update on the current Premier League results or what's going on in the league right now as of recording. West Ham are 2-0 up inside 10 minutes. They got 2 quick goals from Jared Bowen. England squad for him for the summer?
He's got to be considered.
I think he's got to go.
He has to go.
He's got to be.
Forget considered. I think he has to go.
With Kane struggling and other players out of form. Grealish has been out of form this season.
But they'll go though.
That's the problem. But that's the problem. That's why England's too biased. Like they're too loyal to players who are out of form. I feel like Bowen definitely has to go. Do you know who I would take to the England World Cup, the Euro squad, as a gamble?
Yeah.
Solanke. I think he's had a great season as a backup, as a third choice striker.
So you'd have Kane,
I'll Tony or Watkins. It depends on who's in scored more goals now.
So I think Kane, Watkins, and Solanke then.
Yeah, that would be
Watkins. Yeah.
I don't think they'll pick Tony. Because of the whole gambling stuff,
It's just not.
It's not England. Not England. The clean media England player that England want. So
apparently Gareth was. I think there was a time where a lot of English players are playing. I think in the Premier League. Yet Gareth was in Ajax.
Yeah,
which shows that I just got this horrible feeling that he's still going to bring the likes.
Henderson's going to come.
Henderson will go.
Maguire's going to go.
Phillips could still go.
He'll go.
But he's had a poor season.
It doesn't matter. He has his favourites.
He has his favourite, but. Yeah, Bowen has.
Definitely has to go.
Scratch that. You should be going.
And someone else should go as well. That defender from Everton. I think he's had a great season.
Oh, Brantford.
Bathurst. I think he's had a great season.
Yeah.
I think he should go as a backup centre back.
Ward-Prowse?
No.
He hasn't played a lot of games.
He's played well for West Ham, but I think when you look at the numbers in the competition, his teammate Calvin Phillips will go over him, which in a way is outrageous. But
what about left back? Who would go left back? Because Shaw's been injured for 4 seasons, injured again, out for a long time.
He'll still take Shaw.
Yeah.
Then he'll figure it out. Probably even have
Colwell could go as a backup left back. He could play left back as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but
he shouldn't.
Or Chilwell.
What's his name? Trippier out there again.
Oh, Trippier, yeah.
But anyway, we'll see what England do in the summer. But this is us wrapping up for tonight. Thanks all for listening. And if you're West Ham fans, I know you lot don't like Moyes. But as he said in his press conference, these other managers that everyone loves, what did they deliver? Nish. I got the job done. Just like Virgil. See you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.